For the final Eclipse Week 7 demonstrations, we need to make a global entry for a spelling of a word 3 times and demonstrate it in a video. You'll see that I have 2 briefs on there. I'll get into that in a second because I wanted to demonstrate that I know how to make briefs for words in case that was what you're asking for, or if you were asking for what Zarate had talked about in terms of auto correction, I'll show you how to do that as well. Second demonstration is the YONK video. Is this a correct phrase? Misstroke. Demonstrate the fastest way to change that. And demonstrate 3 times auto replacement for FMC to Ford Motor Company. So what we'll do is we'll start out at the bottom. Let's do the Ford Motor Company. As you can see, I wrote here, per the lecture, we would actually have to write out, we're on our steno machine, Ford. And Ford can be T-P-O-R-D or T-P-O-E-R-D, Motor Company. And we're going to mark all 3 words, right-click our mouse key button, go to Global, and then type whatever we want, such as FMC, followed by an equal sign, Ford Motor Company, and click Enter. Now going over to our editing, let's go up to Settings. It's a little bit too big on the zoom. Settings, then User Settings comes up. We're going to go over here to Programming. Then we're going to go to Auto Replacements, and we're going to go to Modify. So let's just assume that we have, which we already have, done Ford Motor Company written out on the steno machine, marked it, and did FMC equals Ford Motor Company. As you can see, I have changed that to DMC equals Ford Motor Company. If I want to change it back, I'll just go up here, go to F for FMC, click OK, and we're good. Now, this is not going to be written on the steno machine. This is actually going to be typed out by hand on the keyboard. So you want to make sure that hyperkeys are off. Hyperkeys are off. You type in FMC, enter, and Ford Motor Company comes up. Again, to change that, we're going to go up to Settings, Programming. We're going to go to Auto Replacements, click Modify, and again, since that's already up there, I could change it to anything I want. CMC equals Ford Motor Company, PMC, LMC, MMC, click OK, click OK, hyperkeys are off, type out MMC on your machine, on your keyboard, and Ford Motor Company comes up. Now let's go back up to Settings again. Let's go back to Programming, and let's go to Auto Replacements. This is going to be where Zarate was talking about how he had he was constantly misspelling, I think it was his or she, when he would be typing it out on his keyboard. So what you can do is you can add, and you could go to Original Text. So let's do what he did. Let's say it's HSE for she. Replace it with SHE and click OK. One thing I want to do is I want to make sure that that is lowercase. HSE, and we'll make sure that the replacement text is also lowercase. Click OK. We can see that it appears. Click OK. OK. We are not in hyperkeys. HSE becomes she. So again, it's very similar to Ford Motor Company, and it's also very similar to YONK. I want to go up to YONK one more time. Again, Settings, Programming, Auto Replacements, click OK. I always click OK. We click on Modify. I apologize about that. Modify. And then YONK, what I made for YONK was you don't know. And I bring that up because in the lecture, the two women that were sitting by the camera were talking about how they wish they could have this in their personal life, not just for editing transcripts. So YONK is an abbreviation that you can use for, as I have, you don't know, but YONK could be I don't know. YONK could be whatever you want it to be. And anytime that you type out YONK, as long as we have that equal sign in there, it's going to go to you don't know, or whatever it is that you choose. So let's click OK. Okay. We are not in hyperkeys. YONK becomes you don't know. So again, they're very similar to Ford Motor Company, very similar to making a global entry for a spelling of a word. It's essentially there when you go to the editing phase of your transcription for proofreading. And side note about that, Zarate always wants us to print out a hard copy of our transcript before we proofread it, mainly because he wants us to check the page breaks to make sure that there aren't any poor page or inaccurate page breaks that could make our transcript look bad. But when we're going through it again, if we find that we have consistent errors for words, we can go back up to settings, as I've already demonstrated. I'll do it again. Settings, programming, auto replacements, modify, and then we could add whatever we like. And as Zarate would say, it's actually pretty cool. But that's it. That's the end. Thank you.